But the idea that you do not want humans to eat what they need to survive, and you will allow yourself to become sick, I mean, go look.
Hey, this is Ryan of Happy Healthy Vegan. It seems like it was just a few weeks ago. It actually was when I made my video reviewing the most stupidest things said about veganism in 2022. And someone please remind me in about 11 and a half months to remember this video about Candace Owens, because boy, as you'll see, she said some really just completely stupid things about veganism. And before someone tries to turn this into some kind of political thing, I don't care about her politics here. I may not agree with them, but that's completely irrelevant. I don't care if Nancy Pelosi or Joe Biden or Hassan Abi said some stupid stuff about veganism. If any one of them had, I'd probably be responding too. So anyway, let's jump into it. And before we get started, I want to point out how she continually brings up this idea that vegans are anti-human. We despise or hate humans. And just try to pay attention to see if she has any kind of argument for that, because I'm not finding one.
There is an element of veganism that I have always felt is fundamentally anti-human. It is, to me, veganism is exactly like the climate change lobby, where you have three categories of people that are drawn to veganism. One are the uneducated but well-meaning people.
Wow, I didn't know there are three categories of vegans. Please educate me about this, Candace. I've been vegan 12 years. I was not aware of it. I can't wait to find out which category I belong to. Am I one of these well-meaning but uneducated ones?
Right, you don't really know much. But you like the idea that you're protecting animals, and so you commit yourself to a vegan lifestyle without actually being that educated about it, in the same way that people who march for the end of climate change, you see these.
I'm not sure if that category fits me. When I went vegan, I didn't really educate myself. I just figured out through sheer common sense and my good sense as a human being with compassion that it was absolutely unnecessary to have animals continually killed for me on a daily basis for the rest of my life. In order for me to live, I could eat plants. But once I got the hang of being vegan, I learned more, I educated myself, so maybe I'm not this category.
The second category of people, I believe, are people who are drawn to the social aspects. They are drawn to the culture of veganism, and I'd like to emphasize the cult part of it, because I do believe veganism is a cult.
Hell yeah, veganism is a cult, Candace. You got it right. Slam dunk. You know, I'm a proud t-shirt wearing vegan cult member, and you know, we've been denying all these years that veganism is a cult, saying you guys are all nuts saying that, but actually turns out we are a cult, and I am the cult leader. But all kidding aside here, really, we're a cult because we have a social culture? I mean, how does that make any sense? I mean, is any group of people with any interest a cult?
It's something for them to do. It allows them to find a community. We all need our cults. We find our communities. For me, I like people that are dedicated to fitness and people that are dedicated to cooking. And I like to explore recipes and be tagged in people that are coming up with creative recipes, being tagged in those accounts. I'm like, give me more information. That, I guess, is my cult, the cult of cooking, the cult of working out, if you will.
As ridiculous as her reasoning is, at least it's consistent. Yeah, so if people talking about fitness is a cult, people talking about recipes is a cult, I guess people talking about veganism is a cult. Yeah, great point. Yeah, we're a cult. Yeah, how horrible.
Veganism is its own kind of a cult, and the reason why you know this is definitely a dark cult is because when people want to stop being vegan, they are attacked.
All right, to use her own reasoning here about attacking others, I mean, talk about being attacked. Anyone who's been vegan knows that, you know, especially those of us on social media, I personally get attacked on a pretty much daily basis from non-vegans. Are they a cult? Non-vegans? Because they attack me all the time. Not for things I said or anything about me other than I chose to not consume animal products. A personal choice I made, and something about that triggers them and they attack me. So I guess non-vegans are a cult too, right? According to Candace's logic. In fact, Candace is basically just doing that right now. She's attacking vegans right now with these broad, unsupported generalizations, but they are attacked. So Candace Owens is a cult too.
I know this. I have friends that were vegan and decided not to be vegan, and they were attacked.
Yeah, slam dunk evidence there that vegans are a cult. You had some friends who were vegans, and when they quit, they were attacked. Yeah, that proves we're a cult. I'm done here. I guess veganism's been debunked. We are indeed a cult.
But the third category of people, like the climate change lobby, who fully know the truth about veganism, right?
So I wonder if that's going to be me. Since I've been a vegan activist here online since 2013, I know the full truth of veganism. And does that follow that Candace Owens, who seems to know absolutely nothing about veganism, does she herself know the full truth about veganism?
They fully know the truth regarding the fact that if you are a vegan, you kill 25 times more animals than people that eat meat. It is the truth.
I mean, do you have any evidence to support this claim about it being the truth? Just because you proclaim something to be the truth doesn't give it any status as being true. In fact, I've covered this topic for, I said, since 2013, and I've seen a lot of evidence and data. I've seen nothing to support or even merely suggest what she's saying. This 25 times. It sounds so precise. Can you tell us a little bit more where you get this outrageous claim from?
Right there, this is not something that can be disputed. If they tell you that this is not true, they are just lying in the face of overwhelming evidence.
So now she's even telling you to not listen to people like me who say what she's saying here is not true because there's so much overwhelming evidence. Well, let's have a little contest here, Candace. Let's see who has any kind of evidence whatsoever that's remotely credible. I'll present mine first, and we'll see your presentation here in a second. I'm going to actually present you with some mathematical calculations, some mathematical models that have actually asked this very question. How many animals are killed in the production of foods? So this paper, titled Number of Animals Killed to Produce 1 Million Calories in 8 Food Categories. In this chart graph here, we have two colors on these bars here. Red represents the amount of animals killed in slaughter, and the gold are the number of animals killed in harvest. And if you look at the top 4 categories in the graph, which all happen to be animal products, chicken, eggs, beef, and pork, even if you just look at the yellow bars alone, the harvest part, those numbers exceed the number of animals killed on the bottom 3 categories, vegetable, fruits, and grains. And once you add in the slaughtered animals, it's not even close. And for anyone interested, I'll put a link to this paper in the show description where you can read more about their methods, the mathematical formulas they use, their assumptions, their data sources, and you'll see these assumptions and numbers that they used here were relatively conservative. They're not like just overinflating this to make meat production look bad. This is the reality of it. It's truly laughable to see this fake attempt at Candace to play this animal rights activist. She cares about animals so much. She wants to see the fewest amount of animals killed. No, if you really cared about that, Candace, and I know you don't, you're just saying this to try to justify meeting, but if you truly cared about reducing the amount of animals killed, you'd have no choice other than to be vegan. Well, anyway, that's my presentation. She said there's no evidence. I beg to differ. Let's see her argument as to why she believes, as she does, that vegans kill more animals than meat eaters.
In fact, take a listen to Ted Nugent.
Okay, I'm not sure how that would help anything.
When he was on Joe Rogan's podcast.
So this is your overwhelming evidence to show that vegans kill more animals. You're not relying on, say, a mathematician, a data scientist. You're relying on the personal opinion of a 70s rock musician turned hunting activist?
Discussing this very, very well-known factoid.
If you really want to kill the most things, be a vegan. Because the farmers who protect your beans kill everything. I kill 1 animal per arrow. In order to grow tofu, you have to kill every ground squirrel, every vole, every shrew.
Grow tofu? It doesn't work like that, Ted Nugent. I can't believe Candace is relying on a person that doesn't understand how tofu is made. There's no tofu trees or something like that. But that's irrelevant. Maybe he just made a mental slip there. I'm sure he did a lot of heavy partying in the 70s. But let's see who or what consumes most of the tofu or soy grown in the United States. So to give you some actual numbers rather than me ranting with some unsupported fantasy opinion based on nothing, let's look at a paper here from Engage the Chain, which is an investor guide on agricultural supply chain risk, a very non-vegan activist source of information here. And instead of soy being used to feed vegans, or let alone humans, this paper flat out says the vast majority of global soybean production is used to feed animals. About 85% of global soybean production is crushed into meal and vegetable oil. Of the soybeans crushed, 80% is used for meal. So if this soybean that's used for meal, it says virtually all of it, 98% exactly, is used to feed animals, pigs, poultry, cattle, and farm fish. Well, just a mere 2% is processed for food use. And I'm sure of that, a fraction of a percent actually reaches the mouths of vegans. And when we look at corn, the other major crop in the United States, similarly, a very infinitesimally small percentage of corn grown actually reaches the mouths of humans. Again, the vast majority of it is used to feed livestock.
And I cannot tell you how true that is and how much I felt it in my soul.
Well, I can tell you how not true that is, and it's absolutely meaningless if you felt something in your soul listening to Ted Nugent just rant on without any evidence, just giving his personal opinion.
And it's so ridiculous to me that you have these individuals that, despite all of this overwhelming evidence, refuse to admit it.
Well, there is overwhelming evidence, Candace, and if anyone is lying, it's you. You're the one trying to gaslight your gullible, uneducated, at least about vegan issues, audience that we're the ones lying. No, you have no overwhelming evidence other than
People that still hold on to this lie are the people that despise humans. That's truth.
Remember I told you at the beginning to pay attention to her argument here that vegans despise humans? She said it again. I still didn't hear an argument. Just pointing that out.
You hate humans. You don't love animals. You hate humans. Call it out. You love the obsession of talking about why everything that we do is awful.
Oh, I get it, Candace. So you think vegans hate humans because we're in the business of telling non-vegans what awful people you are. Well, I'll tell you right now, Candace, since you're lying about veganism here, saying you have all this overwhelming evidence, which you don't, which on the other hand, we do, you're an awful person for spreading lies and misinformation. Yeah.
It would be one thing to say, in which I actually hold this position, that I like my meats to be grass-fed. I do. I like to think that the cows are living a happy life.
It's hilarious how many times people fall back on this grass-fed beef being the salvation of our planet. No, it will forever remain a privileged thing that only a few can afford. And we just simply don't have enough land mass on planet Earth to feed everyone grass-fed beef. I've made a video about this, again, using conservative numbers and simple math, and we would need at least 3 planet Earths. And since we only have one planet, and it's absolutely needless and cruel to kill animals, just eat plants. It's not that hard, Candace.
And then the question is why? You know that our bodies actually do need meat.
Oh, really? Is Candace now all of a sudden an expert in health and nutrition? Does she have a degree in medicine, or is she a nutritionist or dietitian now?
But the idea that you do not want humans to eat what they need to survive, and you will allow yourself to become sick, I mean, go look.
Yes, let's go look, but not look at the opinion of someone with absolutely no training or expertise in this subject matter of health and what the human body needs. Let's look at, say, the position statements of health organizations from around the world who have reviewed the relevant scientific literature and have made position statements, put in their organization's reputations online if they were to say something totally wrong and prove to be false. And it's absolutely clear that eating a well-planned, balanced diet of all plants is nutritionally adequate. In fact, the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics says it's nutritionally adequate for all people in all stages of life, including pregnancy, lactation, adolescence, old age, athletes, you name it.
And you will allow yourself to become sick? I mean, go look.
Allow myself to come sick? I mean, this is so frustrating. She's the one calling vegans liars. And all we've seen so far from Candace are lies, or relying on Ted Nugent as her overwhelming evidence. But let's look at her health claims here. I'm allowing myself to become sick as a vegan. Well, I've been vegan for a pretty long time now, Candace, over 12 years. When's all this horrible stuff going to start happening to me? I've been putting my blood tests up ever since we started our YouTube channel back in 2013. I always get a nice clean bill of health from my doctors. On top of that, I'm quite athletic. At this old age of 55, I still play basketball. I'm slam dunking at my age. I wasn't able to slam dunk in my 20s or 30s back when I was not a vegan. I'm surfing. I'm not sick and falling apart. You're full of crap.
At all of the videos online of former vegans, people that were vegan their entire life, were sick their entire lives, and all they needed to do was eat meat. right? All they had to do was eat what their body actually needs to survive to get over all of these various illnesses. People that ruin their health for life and will never get it back.
Why are you just making stuff up for and lying? Why don't you just say, like, just make up something really cool, like, hey, you're from planet Z-Box 7, that explains why your thoughts are so deranged.
Because they fell into the cult of veganism. You ignore all of that because you hate humans.
Well, I'm going to speak on behalf of the vegan cult here. No, we don't hate humans, Candace, but we do hate it when people like you and Piers Morgan and Joe Rogan and Ted Nugent use their social media platforms to spread complete non-evidence-based misinformation about veganism to their wide, impressionable audiences, because that is the true crime here. It's just so ironic how you're calling us liars, that you have like zero information, and we're the ones that with facts, information, science, and we're the liars. Yeah, good job gaslighting us. And you know, I may seem a bit harsh on Candace, and I invite Candace. I don't hate her or anything. I'm pissed off at her, but I don't hate her, and I would invite her to come anytime to have a discussion with me, an actual real vegan, about veganism. I have Friday live streams. I don't think my little platform is worthy enough for her, but if she wants to come and have a live discussion about veganism, I would be more than happy to educate her about what veganism really is and have a hopefully honest and rational dialectic rather than some kind of shouting match. So anyway, the offer's there, and if anyone has a contact, let her know. So anyway, thanks guys for watching this video. I know it's kind of long once again, so hit like, subscribe, share, and remember, doesn't suck being vegan, and we're not a cult.